Mhm. Samuel, can you please send a reminder on our WhatsApp group? Are you ready for us now?
Go right ahead.
Go ahead.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining another exciting edition of Speak with a Diplomat, a tenor policy program for American Spaces Nigeria. Thank you so much for agreeing to be part of our program. Christian Smith, we are very delighted to have you. I will introduce you to the group by reading your bio briefly. Then I will give you the floor to actually share your experiences in the course of duty here in Nigeria and other places you've been to with our participants here in Nigeria. So I will go ahead now and introduce our speaker for today. Kristen Smith, Deputy Human Resource Officer uh, at the HR office here in Abuja. Kristen previously served as the HRO in Ashgabat in Turkmenistan from 2021 to 2023. Kristen joined the Foreign Service as a Human Resource Officer in April 2021. Prior to joining the Department of State, he served in the U.S. Army as both an enlisted and non-commissioned and as an officer spending most of his time in the services as a human resource and armor officer. Immediately after the army, he served as a contractor with OBO, where he got his first exposure to development culture. He's a naturalized citizen, born and raised in Freetown, Sierra Leone. Chris has a master's degree in human resources management with 2 graduate level certificate in gender studies and a bachelor's degree in labor and personal relation. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for Christian Smith.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. How you all doing?
Yeah, fine, thank you.
As I was aptly introduced, my name is Christian, last name Smith, but I go by Chris. And I am really, really happy to have this opportunity to share my experience with you all. My theme for this conversation is going to be from there to here, because there was a time when I was sitting exactly where you are right now and listening to a diplomat talk, and that kind of helped shape. Well, at the time, I never dreamed that this is where I'd end up, but I was in awe as to having the opportunity to listen to a diplomat share their experience with me. So I am happy to do the same today. From there to here basically means from Freetown, Sierra Leone, where I was born and raised, which if you really look at a map is only 4 or 5 countries away from where we're sitting today. As a normal kid, my life transitioned from being a happy, playful kid in Sierra Leone to a migrant to the US, to a more playful person in the United States, merging into a soldier for fun. I joined the army for all the wrong reasons, got into the army, found out I enjoyed it, retired from the army after 22 years of service. And then I started a second career, which is where I'm sitting today as a human resources officer with the Department of State, serving in USinNigeria, where I cover both Abuja and Lagos. So let's reel it back a little and talk about where it all started. I was born to a military mother. So I grew up in a military environment from one barracks to another. Probably that's what shaped my career and my life, ending up in the military, but I never thought of it as having that much of an impact for me. But I was just a normal, playful kid. My father was most of the time not around. He traveled a lot. So my mother raised me. And I don't know what the fascination was. I mean, both my parents were trained studied, educated, and lived their earlier lives in England. So the normal trajectory for my family growing up was you go to school, you get to college, you move to England. I had to do things different. I watched a lot of American movies and I just love the concept of America. So when it was time for me to go to college and my dad and I had a conversation, he already had his vision. Now, like a lot of you sitting here listening to this, I am the oldest son, and you know what that means in an African family. My dad had his vision of what my life was supposed to be. My dad was a banker. I was supposed to follow in his footsteps and, go into banking, go to London, go study, come back and get plugged in, and the day we had a come to Jesus conversation, I guess I shattered his dream of what he envisioned his first son, his junior, because I'm named after my dad. And I just broke his heart because I told him, sorry, Dad, I can't tolerate, England is not the place for me. I've never been to the States, but America is where I want to go. And he gave me every excuse in the book of why America wouldn't work. But I was, for some ungodly reason, and imagine that feeling came from watching movies, just being in awe of the American concepts, the American lifestyle. And I just knew that's what I wanted. And I stood my ground. Just imagine a 17, 18-year-old kid telling your father, looking him straight in the eye and saying, Dad, I'm sorry. I know you can send me to England. We had a house in England, so it was a matter of everything was laid out for me. I was like, no, I want to go to college in America. And he said he couldn't afford it, which was a lie. And bottom line, we walked away from that conversation. He told me, you will go to Frabe College, and that's the best I can do for you, which is the university in Freetown, Sierra Leone. So not proud to say this, but at that point in my life, I knew I had to take matters into my hand. So you're not going to believe, but I ran away. I ran away from home to America. How I got a visa is another story for another day. I had a sister living in the States in Maryland. My mother had moved back to England, and I was there with my dad. And just imagine your father's telling you no, shattered my dreams. I made a few phone calls. I did what I had to do. I got a visa and I moved to America. I think I must have been, 19 years old at the time. I got to America with $20 in my pocket, a case full of clothes, and a dream. I had nothing. And I had a sister who was worse than a military commander. She was the Iron Lady. Life with her was where discipline really, really started formulating in my life. She did not take things for granted, and she did not make me take a break. She was hard on me. I got to America, like I said, with $20 and a dream, and I started off with nothing. I walked in restaurants as a dishwasher. I was a busboy. I was a waiter. I graduated to being a delivery driver. I did menial jobs to get started. Everybody starts from somewhere. I'm not ashamed to say it. In fact, that I think is the core to who I am today. That humbled me. Just imagine I came from a background where my mother was an officer, a nurse in the military, and my dad was a CEO for a bank. I didn't scratch my head for nothing in Sierra Leone. And I get to the US and I had to fend for myself. So I get to the US and I hustled, for lack of a better word. I hustled. I did 2 jobs at a time. I tried to go to school, but honestly, education was not my priority at that point in time. All I wanted to do was have a good time. I was in America. Oh, wow, I had arrived. My sister was hard on me. She saw the value of education. She saw my potential. She saw what I could be. And she just hated the fact that I was wasting away, working 2 jobs to go shopping on a Friday night so I could go out Friday and Saturday to clubs and parties and just have a good time. That is how my life in the US started. I did that for a couple of years. My sister kicked me out. I found a roommate and I continued having a good time. Turning point was years later. By then, I was doing the deliveries. I had found a good company. I knew my way around and I was making decent money, but my quality of life sucked. I was working 12, 14 hours a day. But on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you met me at a party or in the club, and you would think I was Dangote's first son. I dressed the part. I spoke, said the right things. I had the right glass, of whatever concoction I was drinking in my hand, and I probably had the right female, on my elbow holding on to me. I acted the part, but I was broke. I was tired. I was exhausted. I was working. So we fast forward. One day I'm walking into a grocery store. I always had to cut my hair military style. This army recruiter was walking out. I had just gotten a fresh haircut and I was walking in, and he said to me, "Are you in the military?" I said, "Really? No." He said, "With a haircut like that, you should be in the military. Here's my card. Give me a call someday." I took his card. I read it and I laughed. I stuck it in my pocket. I went to the grocery store. I am a Christian and I believe in destiny. I believe that God has a plan for all of us. If you're a Muslim, it'll be Allah. You understand? Our higher being, if you believe, they have a plan for us. That incident happened and I walked away from it. I got home and it's like almost every day after that, when I turned the TV on, there was a commercial. Back then, the slogan used to be all you can be for the Army. Every time I turned the TV on, there was like, if you want money for college, you want to travel the world, you want to be trained for a job, you need, all the things that were lacking in my life was being advertised. And he said, call an Army recruiter today, be all you can be. Do not limit yourself. I did that for a few months. It's like the signs were were pulling me towards the military. The more I saw the ads, the more the idea kind of formulated in my head. And I remember that encounter with that recruiter going in that grocery store. And 3 months later, I knew exactly where I had put his business card. And I called him up. Maybe a sales pitch, or maybe he was just, he was good at his job. But he said he remembered me and he knew it was just a matter of time that the call would come. Needless to say, within 2 weeks, I had signed the contract to join the Army. Scariest thing I ever did. And I was picking up my life and packing up for the new, because you join the Army, they ship you out to basic training, they train you, they ship you out to wherever the Army wants you, and you go serve. I joined the Army as a private, all the way at the bottom. I went for training. I got out of training and I got shipped to Texas. It's like, how do you put it? From Abuja, I got shipped to Ibadan, way far away from where I was. They had trained me. I had signed a contract for 3 years. There was guaranteed money for college. And oh, by the way, while you're in, there's money for college. Because at that point in time, I had come to realize that my life was not going in the direction that I wanted it to go. I needed to grab my life and do something. The Army gave me that opportunity. The Army, believe it or not, was the easiest job I have ever had. They give you a uniform. They tell you where to be. They train you to do what you need to do. If you just follow instructions, it's a free, get fit organization. You wake up every morning at 6:30 in the morning when the what you call it, reveille goes off and the flag goes up. You exercise for an hour. I was fit. I was trained for a job. I loved the job. So my 3 years became 6 years. I reenlisted. My 6 years became 8 years. My 8-year mark was, okay, that time I was a staff sergeant. What else can I do? I wanted more. I applied for the officer cadet course. I got picked up. I went for training. I became a lieutenant. And yes, this funny, weird guy talking to you today was a tanker. I used to be on tanks. You know, the big boom, boom tanks? Yes, that's what I did as a lieutenant in the Army. Loved it. Like I said, easiest job I ever had. 8 years became 22 years. I retired from the military as a major. The last few years in the military was where I got exposed to military officers working in embassies, because I was at a headquarters working with African militaries, and I came to the continent a lot. So that was my first exposure to the diplomatic corps. Had no idea that's where I was going to transition to, but I was just in awe of the diplomats. You saw them hustling, bustling around, busy, whenever I was in a country, spoke to a couple, got exposed to the lifestyle. I retired. I had a brother-in-law who was a diplomat. When I retired, I went back to Freetown. I had this dream of coming back home and to the continent and making a difference. You and I know how difficult that is, because I was seen as an outsider. I'd been away for too long. I had the experience, but I wasn't part of the system, so that didn't work. So he called me one day and we were talking, and he's like, have you ever considered joining the Foreign Service? If there's any lifestyle close to what you did in the military, it's the Foreign Service. The more I researched and explored, and I remembered my time with diplomats when I was working with African militaries, the more the idea sunk in. I applied. It's a long process to get into the Foreign Service. They're very, very selective. It took me a little over 2 years from application to get to my first day at work. I thought the Army was the easiest job I had. Yes, it was. The most fun I've had working has been as a diplomat for the Foreign Service. When I got done with training, I was sent to a country that I did not even know exist until, on Flag Day, I was told, Ashgabat, Turkmenistan. I'm like, who, where, what?
Samuel, camera.
Ashgabat, Turkmenistan is a former Soviet state. And I challenge you in the audience to look up Ashgabat, Turkmenistan online. What you will find will wow you. It's the most unique country in the world that you can ever explore or read about. The capital city has only white buildings. Every single building in that city is white. 80% of the cars in that country are white. When I got to Ashgabat, there were only 5 African Americans in the capital city, 5 of us. It's a unique place. Diplomats, American diplomats, when I was getting ready to go and that I interacted with, would apologize and say they were sorry that I had to go to Ashgabat. I am very open-minded. I went to Ashgabat with an open mind, and I'll tell you, work was amazing. The people were amazing. The culture was amazing. And my 2 years that I spent in Ashgabat as a diplomat, serving as a human resources officer, was an experience that I can not be able to explain to you. But the country that most people thought would be a drag for me turned out to be an enlightening, fun experience. I enjoyed my time in Ashgabat, and then I had to say goodbye. And then I came to Abuja, Nigeria, where I'm sitting currently today. Now, remember where I started? I started off Sierra Leone, Freetown, right? Right next door. And I came here. On my mother's side of the family, I have Yoruba aunts and uncles. The culture for my family is very, very similar to the Nigerian culture. The food, except for the lots and lots of spice that Nigerians love to put in the food is very similar. A lot of the phrases, the terms are very, very similar. And I dey talk pidgin. Not to yaso akalam pidgin. I dey talk am because Nadande who they talk. We dey talk Creole. We're very, very similar to pidgin. So I walk around, people see an American diplomat, but when I open my mouth, I dey talk pidgin, good one. The look on their faces has been priceless. Okay, now you dey talk so. What I teach you? Nobody taught me. I grew up in this culture. So my experience here in Abuja, Lagos, Mission, Nigeria, has been amazing. I have never met a group of people more friendlier, warm, caring. Nigerians apologize when you're sick. Hey, sorry. There was a time I wanted to be sick so people could see me looking ill because of the sympathy that I would get. I have never felt this much love in anywhere that I've been stationed. And I have moved 11 times when I was in the army. I'm moving next week because this is the end of my time in Nigeria. I'm moving next week. This is my third move at State Department. This is by far the hardest move for me. I have to walk away from people when they walk up to me saying, "Hey, Oga, you're leaving." I just had, "Hey, Oga, why are you leaving?" And they say the things to me about the experience they've had with me and the impact I've made in their lives, or how approachable, user-friendly, and how I've helped them. Sometimes I push the tears back, turn away, because big man no dey cry. No, they're not for see me cry. I dey turn, I dey waka go. I dey waka, I go. I go cry quietly in my corner. But serving as a diplomat in Nigeria has by far superseded any experience I had in the military and I've had in State Department. The warmth, the love, the camaraderie, even when I'm just doing my job, because imagine, as a human resource guy, we take care of people's problems. You understand? The recognition, the acknowledgement, the thank yous. For me, it's like I didn't do anything. I did my job. Nigeria will always be a special place in my heart. You people are amazing. And for you young folks sitting out there, the message to you is, remember what I said about how my life could have gone. It's okay to dream, and it's okay to follow your dreams. Right now, you're sitting there and you're thinking, you can't move left, you can't move right. From there to here, I used to be sitting right there where you are, and look at where I'm at today. Do not limit yourself. Dream, pursue your dreams. The world and life is just the weirdest thing. You will land somewhere, and if you follow through to what you believe in, you'll be a happy human being, a happy individual. I never envisioned that I would be sitting here as an American diplomat, impacting lives the way I think, or I've been told that I have. Love my job. Love the interaction. Love the experiences. Because as a diplomat, I'm packing up next week. I'll be in a different country. I'll be there for 2 years, 3 years. I'll pack up, I'll go to a different country. All in the nature of serving. But I tell you what, it's been an exciting ride from where I started to where I'm at today. And it's a ride that I'm looking forward to see where it's going to take me tomorrow. So keep dreaming, follow your dreams. When I told my old man, Dad, I'm not going to London, and he told me for a big college, that's what he thought. I ended up washing dishes for a while, but hey, that was a trajectory to get me to where I'm at today. So do not limit yourself to what you think you can't do. God has a plan for all of us, and his plan always comes through. On that note, I'll wrap this up and say thank you for the opportunity to talk to you and share my experience with you. And keep the faith, stay strong. God has a plan for each and every single one of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I'm actually very inspired and actually excited to have you on our program. And I believe that a majority of our participants today, who majorly are youth, are so inspired by your experiences, all of what you've shared, your experience from Sierra Leone to America and today you are a diplomat. I believe they are so inspired by everything you have said here today. And just to go back on something you said, you've spent about 22 years in the army, and now you have actually moved. Now you are currently a diplomat. So how do you? I believe there have been, because of the shift, I know you've encountered some challenges as well, because given the fact that you spend the better part of your life as a military officer, with the shift, what are the challenges that you've encountered?
So yes, it definitely has been a shift and it's been challenging. But fortunately for me, it's been challenging and shifted in more of a positive way. The army worked for me because discipline is what the army is built on, and discipline has never been a problem for me. The army is very rigid. It's black and white. Now, as a diplomat, there's a lot of gray areas. So if anything, for me, the shift has been positive because now I get to see that, it's not just regulations. You're either on this side of it or this side. As a diplomat, you interact, you understand, you engage. So I can breathe now. In uniform, I was the officer. This is what needs to happen, get it done. As a diplomat, you inspire people, you engage people, you promote, your country's policy, your country's ideals. In the army, when you're wearing that uniform, you are by the book. So now, yes, I'm a human being. I'm not robotic. So for me, it's been a positive transition, and I love my job as a diplomat. I get to meet people. I get to see a human side to people, not just a mechanical, robotic. I'm Private Smith, blah, blah, blah. This is what I do, because that's what you get in the military. Here, I stop in the corridors. I talk to people. I go out in town. I can engage people as a human being and not be that, oh, shoot, it's Major Smith sitting there and everybody goes sits the other way. So for me, but as far as challenges, it's been pretty much very similar. One of the biggest problems for diplomats is you pick up and you move every 2-3 years. I've been doing that for the 26, 27 years. You know what I mean? Saying goodbye. I've said goodbye many a times. It's not easy to do, but I'm still doing that. So I hope that sort of kind of frames things up for you and answers your question.
Yes, definitely. Please, for those of you who have questions, please, you can actually type in your questions via the chat box. Or you can actually indicate by raising your virtual hand, and we'll give opportunity to speak to the diplomat directly. You've said quite a lot here, and I'm beginning to wonder what exactly has been your motivation. What has been that drive? What exactly has been driving you, giving you that motivation to keep doing what you're doing? And because you've so much had faith in yourself that, you had a dream, and because in this dream you just felt, I was going to achieve this, I was going to be somebody tomorrow. What exactly has motivated you over the years?
I tell you, my biggest motivation was my mother. My mother, may she rest in peace, the values that I have today came from her. She was loving, but she instilled the desire to want more, the desire to be something, to not shut, when the door shut, not for you to just shrivel away and think that's the end of the world. She made me learn that when one door shuts in front of you, there's another door somewhere that is waiting for you to go knock on and open. So my mother was my driving force in life. She just, I don't ever remember my mother hitting me, spanking me, but she just had this way to sit me down and talk to me for me to see and understand that even when I was doing all the wrong things, I was a bad child growing up. Well, I wasn't an easy kid. You know what I mean? I got kicked out of school. I was running the street with, the crazy people doing the crazy stuff. And, I wasn't, but she just had this way to sit me down and talk to me to make me see that there was more. So that has always been my driving force. When I was in the military and I got promoted, I would take my old rank and give it to someone that was one step below that rank and say to them, here, this should be your driving force for your next promotion. And for me, under my color, I would put the next rank to remind me that that's where I wanted to go next. So I always wanted to look for what's next, what's beyond, what's above. And even as a diplomat, it's the same thing. I don't come to work to get promoted. I do my job as best as I know how. Because at the end of the day, I'm here to serve. You serve, and the rest will fall in place. So my mother is the answer to that question. Not my dad. I carry his name, but my mother.
All right, thank you. I know some mothers in the house watching will be super proud that indeed they are mothers. All right, let's take a question. Let's take a few questions from some of our spaces across Nigeria. Let's go to American Center at the U.S. Consulate, Lagos. Hello, American Center, Lagos. Please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay, good morning, sir. Firstly, I want to appreciate you once more for the experience you shared with us. It really inspired me. Then I want to ask you, how do you manage your family? I think your children, the children of women, for you moving from one country to the other, I hope it doesn't affect your family. I mean your children of women.
You know what? I like you a lot because you just said to me that you think I'm way younger than I actually am. My kids are grown. I have a son who's graduated from, well, both my kids are graduated from college. I know the boyish, youngish look, you'll think I'm an old man. I just carry the age pretty well, but my kids are grown. Unfortunately, my marriage didn't survive. I got a divorce. So, that's the sad fact about it. But my kids are grown. So basically, at this point in my life, it's just me with two grown kids in the States. And I pick up and go. Now, how I got there, it was a challenge. Having a wife who was she had her own career and two young kids. When we were in the States, they stayed in Maryland, and I went to whatever state the military sent me, and I would fly back and forth weekends. It's a strain on the family, I'm not going to lie. When I went overseas, my wife made an active decision that it was important to keep the family together. So she quit her job, which was a big sacrifice that she made. And we flew, and we were in Belgium, Italy together as a family. But when the kids got to high school age, we had a conversation and decided it was best for them to go back to the States because they had to be prepared for college. So these are the sacrifices that we had to make. We were apart a lot. The military does that. A diplomatic life also will do that to your family life. But my kids are grown. They both graduated. My son is a scout for the Atlanta Falcons. He's doing very well, very proud of him. He'll tell you his mother's responsible for all of that, just like I said, my mother. So, hey, mothers, you all do what you do. My daughter just graduated college. She has a really good job with a law firm, and she's getting ready to start law school. So who knows? Maybe I'll get married again and get it right this time. Okay, but it is challenging to have a family and balance this kind of lifestyle.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Yola.
Thank you, sir.
Yola. How are you, Yola?
So probably we'll come back to Lagos. Okay, so
Hold on. We don't have much time. We have just a couple of minutes, so let's just try to give other people opportunity to speak.
Okay.
Yola, quickly ask your question.
Good day, everyone. My name is Abdul. Thank you very much for sharing your inspirational story with us. And one thing that resonates with me in the last point You mentioned your mother is a driving force, so I can also probably say my mother is also my force. So briefly, I have two questions to ask. Firstly, how is it that USA allow people from other countries to join their army or armed forces? Because recently I have seen one guy from Kano, Suleiman, popularly known as Mijin Batulia. He has also joined US Army. So I need more clarification on that. And secondly, what would be your advice to young people that are willing to jump out to borrow that to use that terminology? Thank you very much, sir. Very grateful.
Okay, so joining the military, I mean, there are requirements, right? You have to be a naturalized citizen. You have to be a certain age range. So there are requirements. So by the time I made that decision, I was a naturalized citizen. I had a green card. Right? I had met and married my wife, and she changed my status. We got married, and she was able to apply and get my status changed, and I got a green card. So I met all the criteria for the military. There's a physical health test, no criminal background, and any of that stuff. So there's a checklist of things that just like in any position, they'll have their requirements, right? So hopefully that takes care of that part. Without a legal status, you cannot join the military, I guess is probably the best way to answer your question. I had a green card at the time, and I got my citizenship while I was in the military. Okay. What was the second question again? I'm sorry.
So what will be your advice for younger generation that are willing to go abroad for studies or work?
Japa. Yeah, you talked about the Japa thing. Right. So, brother, everybody's trajectory and dreams are different. If America is what you want to do, you can apply for scholarships. I mean, I'm not an expert in that area, but there are opportunities that are out there, and you're sitting in the right place where you can explore such opportunities. When I left Freetown and I went to the States, that's where I wanted to be, but I did not envision my life would take the trajectory it took. I was there, and in no time, like I told you, there was always that somebody on, my arm when I was posing and acting like I was a big boy, little boy. They make like saying a big man. I wasn't. You understand? And I met someone, ended up marrying, and we had a family together, and we were together for almost 30 years. So that changed a lot of things for me when I got there. You understand? That changed a lot of things for me. So I was lucky, because when I sit down and explain to people how I got my visa on my own, I mean, my dad was in a position, and he did it for other countries, but because he knew America was where I wanted to be, he would just send the passports to the British Embassy when he was traveling, like, hey, I'm going for a World Bank meeting or something, and they'll stamp, I'm taking my son. He never did it for me for America, because he knew that's where I wanted to be, and he knew that he would lose me. So I had to do it myself. But that's not for this forum. Explore opportunities where you are. Education is one sure way that you can find yourself in America. Okay? Japa, if Japan not for you, go come, my brother. Me no, I don't see Japa. Japa meet me halfway, and Japa. I know the shame for talker. Now, me, she don't know how they talk to you. But what do you think? You tell them they come. Trust me. Yeah? And kudos to your mother. Kudos to our mothers. And kudos to the women sitting in this audience. Us fathers, we dey try no more. We not ever get credit. Now the mama, now they get all the credit. All right, man.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I know that you actually find this presentation today very interesting. I can see that a lot of questions coming up, and a lot of you want to ask questions, but unfortunately, our speaker for today don't have much time. So we apologize for that. But if there are questions that you say you want to ask, please send it via the chat box. We'll pick them and send them across to him to respond currently. Yes.
So let me take a couple in the chat. Okay, there's one here that I have to address. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine. Please go
So
ahead.
American Spaces Nigeria. Have you had the opportunity of getting around Nigeria? Unfortunately not. We're restricted to a 10-kilometer radius in Abuja and Lagos. I really haven't been outside of that. So, and I wish it wasn't so. I would have loved to see more of Nigeria. And trust me, I'll come back and I'll see when I'm not restricted. I'll come as a visitor. What is your best Nigerian food? I leave this one alone. Have you tasted the Nigerian jollof? Yes, I have, but Sierra Leone still has the best jollof. I stand by my Sierra Leonean jollof. That's why I answered this question. So Ghana no sabi cook jollof. Now who they put Ghana for jollof? Now saloon and get the best. Yeah. So that's that. Nigerian food, I tell you what, I like your moi moi. Love it. Love it. I've had some really good moi moi. But that one jollof. No Kenya, nowhere close to Salon Jollof. No left that Jollof argument. Yeah. Okay, between and Abuja, where will you prefer to stay and why? I love Abuja. Lagos is a little too fast for me. It's a fun spot. I go to Lagos every other month and I have a really good time. But my gosh, the life in Lagos is, if I was in Lagos, I'd be in a lot of trouble. I love to go to Lagos and party and come back to my Abuja. I'm a calm guy now. I'm not as young as I used to be. So the speed in Abuja for me is where I want to be. Nothing against Lagos. I love to go there and go party. But it's like comparing Washington, D.C. and New York City. New York is Lagos. Would never want to live there, but I love to go hang out there. Okay? Now, I hope this helps. And sorry, I couldn't do this for a little longer as I have to go do something diplomatic. But it's been fun. It's been really, I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity to come chit chat, answer questions, and share my experiences with you. Jackpa, we're Jackpa ready, Jackpa de come. I know see all my one Jackpa today instead of tomorrow. Jackpa, we you think come for Jackpa, the Jackpa. No, not afraid. They come. Me na Jackpa picking at Jackpa. That means you don't say they talk to her. Keep the faith, okay? Stay strong. Explore your opportunities in there. And, just if you need to, reach out. The folks that you're sitting there, they all know how to get in touch with me. Send your questions. That is what I do. I will answer, and we will stay in touch, okay? All the best. And I have a lovely day.
Thank you so much. Let's put hands together for Christian before he leaves. Thank you so much for today. We appreciate it so much. Thank you for coming on our program.
My pleasure.
Participating, and that's all for today. We hope that you will keep a date with us and try to be part of this program. And it usually comes up every third Thursday of the usually every the fourth Thursday of every month. So please keep it in with us as well. Samuel, do you have something to say before we go?
Yes, so go ahead. He said nothing.
Okay, all right. Thank you everyone for joining today's event, and we hope to see you again. Bye for now.